Calling in from the Windy City, it's time for JW Fusion with your hosts, James and Wendy B.
Welcome to this week's broadcast of JW Fusion. I am your co-host, J.H. Carpenter Barnes, and I'm here with
Wendy B.,
the awesome and magnificent one who is right so much all the time.
Well, I think
you got your record still going.
Okay, I'm trying to hold on to it.
You be on it.
I be's on it.
You own it and you own it.
Yes.
We got an amazing show on this week. We have an awesome show on this week. I am so excited. I got my little sister on here.
Yeah. This is such a blessing, babe, to have her here.
And I'm going to call her soon to be Dr.
Yes, we're going to speak that
Sykes.
into
We're going to speak that.
Okay.
Speak that.
Come on, girl. She's like, all right.
All right. Whatever y'all say.
Welcome to the show, Miss Sharon Sykes.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. Thank you, guys. I appreciate it.
We are excited to have you here.
Me too. I'm a little nervous. But
that's okay. That's okay. Don't worry about it.
That. You just do what you do.
Okay. You are gifted and anointed and appointed, and it is your time.
Yeah.
Thank you. I received that. Thank you.
So, babe,
yes,
introduce Sharon to our audience.
I mean, she got so many things to talk about.
I tell you what, let's do this. How about we let Sharon introduce Sharon?
I think she's the best person to do that.
She really knows.
She does.
She got the inside scoop.
Sharon, tell the people who you is.
I'm not good at talking about myself, y'all. So
you got to learn because you're about to blow up.
We'll talk about your message.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'm Sharon L. Sykes, and I'm saying that because of my social media, Sharon L. Sykes.
Okay.
I'm the founder of Heal the Culture, and Heal the Culture was birthed out of brokenness. I was a part of a book club at the time, several years ago, and I noticed in my circle of friends, they were women of great influence, six-figure women, great businesses, entrepreneurs, educated, loved God, but there was a vacancy. And the vacancy was the ability to hold on and maintain relationships.
Okay.
And so we're dealing with that whole alpha woman thing and how to balance it with wisdom and understanding, and how not to use it to overpower, to manipulate, to dominate, to control our relationships. And one of the things that I learned, I came away from that experience, we battle control a lot.
Yes.
Oh.
We battle control, and we bring that battle into our relationships, and especially with the opposite sex, with men.
Yeah.
You could be the baddest, the curviest, you know what I'm saying? You a cold-blooded chick. But in the relationship department, we haven't really fully learned our place.
Oh,
and I teach a no blame, no judgment. I'm not coming after you because I'm an alpha woman. And I was first partaker of the lesson of learning how to self-love, self-manage instead of self-medicating. There are tons of us in the mall, in the restaurant, going on vacations trying to self-medicate instead of looking inside, speaking to the brokenness, because what you can't speak to, you won't heal it. You can't identify it.
That's true. I'm a firm believer in living from the inside out, and that's a mistake that men and women make. Is research has shown. Let me say this first. Research has shown that 50%, 35 to 50% of the things we think about from our past are inaccurate. It didn't even happen like that. But over the years, we've embellished it because we tell a story. And it's kind of like if you take 10 people and line them up and tell that first person a very short story. By the time it gets to the end, it's completely different.
Right.
Absolutely.
And so we do that to ourselves. As we tell that story again and again and again, it gets embellished and it becomes an inaccurate statement now. It's not true. And so as we are living back there in the past, we're tripping over our present because we're not looking forward and creating and envisioning our future. We're living in a present past mindset. We live in a present past mindset. The feelings that are evoked from those memories, the memories from the past and the habits that were formed because of the past that are in the present, they cause us to certain feelings to come about. And we get addicted to those feelings. Mm-hmm. And control is one of them.
And it's embraced. Because we usually have a circle like your book club. All of you all were kind of the same. And so you kind of attract those same type of people with you. So then that's further cementing what you've been embracing.
Exactly.
And making it bigger than it needs to be.
You get validation for
girl, me too, girl.
For your unproductive.
You know how we do
absolutely.
Yeah.
Instead of, kind of correcting each other, like, okay, well, let's talk about that. Let's see how we can move past that, learn from what we've been through, and learn how to not let that keep us from being the greatest that we can be.
That's true.
Absolutely.
That's true.
So how did you? So you see this in the group that you were in. How did it go from there to this amazing book? And healing yourself at that point.
Absolutely, like
because you began with you first.
I started to look inside and had so many wow. You know what I'm saying? And then I went back to my childhood because every single issue that we battle as adults,
amen,
it came from that childhood.
Yes,
you still had that
and a lot of times, like I said on the panel that we met, a lot of us are getting older, but we're not growing.
We're not,
because wherever you receive trauma as a child, your development, your maturity, your growth stopped
right there
in that trauma.
Oh,
so now you're getting older. Powerful. So you're still a 10-year-old, a 15-year-old girl, or you're a 15-year-old male who has been traumatized. Mm-hmm. You're getting older, your hair is turning gray, but you still can't get past every relationship. That trauma shows up in a manifested behavior.
Yes, it does.
So what I decided to do, I said, you know what? I'm going to start a self-accountability wellness check.
Okay.
And then
so this was for yourself?
This was for me before any of this even started.
Okay.
And I said, okay, I want to go back to school and I want to educate myself. I want to be educated on, because I'm spiritual, raised Christian, but I'm spiritual. I have a very strong spiritual foundation.
Sure.
I said, when I started to learn in grad school and when I started doing research, because my research was on diverse depressions, different types of depressions that we battle. Okay. Some of them are inherited, some of them are chemical, some of them, there are several hundred bipolar diagnoses.
Okay.
So when I started doing my research, and I was like, okay, wow, that was one of my wows. Mm-hmm. So self-reflection, I pulled away. I didn't date. I was very selective about who got close to me because I didn't want any interruptions in my healing.
Sure.
I started talking to God more, and then I gave myself a season where I started listening. Listening to Him, and then He started to play things back, over my life. Sure. It was like a movie. You know what I'm saying? So I'm by myself, and I took this season to be alone. I took a hiatus from people, from everything. I have a background in radio from years ago.
Okay.
And sometimes I would do gigs, as an independent.
Sure.
I pulled away from everything.
Okay.
So I did my education and I did my work. I pulled away from everybody and did my work.
Wow.
Heal the Culture was born. It was like the name just came to me. I started to understand what God was really calling me to do. Coming up in church, you're either evangelist, pastor, elder, you're in
a box.
Right.
You have that title.
And I knew that, I knew I was gifted. I knew I had something special.
So wait, let me stop you right there real quick, because a lot of people, myself included, until recently, you hear that everyone has a gift, everyone has a talent, and sometimes people don't know. So what was it about you or the environment that you were in, or even the schooling and just doing that self-work caused you to understand, like, I am gifted? Where did that come from, that revelation? Because a lot of people are walking around not realizing that they have a gift, because we all have them. How did you come to that realization, or did you always know it? How did that come about?
We have instincts as human beings, as kids. I knew there was something in me. I just didn't know what it was. You know what I'm saying? And when I was a kid, I want to say maybe 4th grade, I started going to church with my godparents at the time.
Okay.
And, there was a woman pastor who was everybody's mother. And evangelist Ella M. Davis, I never will forget. She called me from the back of the church, because we were in the back of the church playing. We were kids.
Right.
She called me from the back of the church and said, "Give me your hands." And I'm like, all I want to do is go outside and play.
I'm just waiting for this service.
And
to
she
be
was
over.
like, "Give me your hands." And I gave her my hands, and she pulled out this big bottle of oil. And she rubbed my hands, and she rubbed my ears, and she anointed my head.
Okay.
And she said, "You have been set apart from birth. Like, you will never be like your peers.
Yeah.
You'll always be different." Before that experience, for some reason, I always had challenges with group friendships.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I always ended up being the one who was targeted for some reason. And I really didn't understand why, because all I wanted to do was either skateboard or play ball.
Yeah.
I'm just a kid.
Yeah, I understand.
So I never forgot that Sunday. And I went home, and just, it kind of like, it stayed with me. It never left. So I've always had like this prayer relationship with God. And I would get messages from him as a little girl, and I would tell people things. You know what I'm saying? Like, I remember telling my grandfather, "Granddaddy, you have cancer." So now, what does a 4-year-old kid know about cancer?
Right.
You see what I'm saying? But it wasn't like I was speaking a disease on him. I think it was God using my voice as a child to prepare him, to get his life wherever he needed to be. I don't exactly know.
That gets your attention if
what?
a 4-year-old comes to you and says something
And that's
like
what happened.
That gets
And
your
what-
attention.
And see, a lot of people don't understand that gifts. There's the scripture that says the gifts and the calling of God is without repentance. So whether you come to God or not, the gifts you have are from birth. There's only one calling. That's the call to become in relationship with God. But the gifts are various, and the way we know is through intuition, because our spirits consist of worship, intuition, and conscience. Our conscience lets us know what's right and wrong. Our intuition gives us knowledge beyond reason, beyond the brain, beyond
explanation.
the frontal lobe. It comes from the spirit realm. And then there's the area of worship. Because the Bible says they that worship him must worship him in spirit and in truth. So your spirit has those 3 areas. And so what you were demonstrating or showing was the intuition that there was something that you knew. You didn't know what it was, but you knew there was something. Because when I was a kid, I was 5 years old. I wanted to read the whole Bible. And you would never know it from the way my life went, but it's amazing the thing God puts in our DNA. Like you have a gift of faith, and you didn't know that.
Right. I just
that you
knew
had that.
I could just sit in church and I could just be quiet, and I would feel God.
Yeah, and so
me.
you just know you have such an assurance about what you're believing for that it's astounding to you, and so. When you have a calling like that, you are set apart, and you will walk alone, and you will be misunderstood, because that's the exact same walk that Jesus walked.
But then as a child hearing that,
But it's
you don't wanna
difficult
hear
as a
that.
child.
Like, wait a minute, what you mean?
You want to go play.
I don't want to be set apart. I want to be accepted.
Yeah.
That's what you want to do as a child. So what happened from that point?
I started to accept the uniqueness. It was a process getting there, though.
Yeah.
I think like any other kid, you want to fit in. You know what I'm saying? Like you want to fit in. You know what I'm saying? An athletic kid, cheerleading, outgoing.
Right.
You're this outgoing personality, but you don't fit anywhere, and it's awkward.
Yeah.
So it can create an insecurity. You know what I'm saying? Because you don't know. And then my mother was an introvert. She was an introvert mom, but my dad was an extrovert. So it's like my mother would always say, girl, get somewhere and sit down, and I would always talk. I wanted to talk on the phone or I wanted to record myself on a tape recorder.
Wow.
So it's like it was energy. There was always energy. And so over time, when I surrendered to it, that's when the peace came. But it was a process. It didn't happen overnight because as human beings, all of us want to be accepted.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
We all want to be embraced. And I didn't really understand it. I just knew I wasn't really liked. And when I tried to find out, okay, I got to the point where I would just ask, what have I done to you? So whatever you tell me that I did, we're going to fix it right now.
Okay.
But it was like nobody could tell me
Yeah.
what
you
I
hadn't done
did.
anything.
Yeah.
Right. So it's like, okay, so we're just gonna move forward with this energy. So finally, in recent years, I made a decision to create a beautiful world for myself. So I started loving myself and I started affirming myself. And then Heal the Culture was born, and the messages that I would get. I have like a easy 5 or 7 books in my head right now, sitting here.
Yeah.
And when I start writing, more will come.
Right.
Sure.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So unsisterly love, incubated jealousy came from that isolated place, feeling isolated. You know what I'm saying? Like having people to just not like you without a cause.
Yeah.
Where when I started studying the leaders in the Bible,
Sure.
the major prophets in the Bible, every last one of them was misunderstood because I talk about the frequency. If your frequency is up here,
Yeah.
and then most of the people you deal with are here, they're not going to see it
Yeah.
from where you see it
Yeah.
Right.
because God has you in a different position
Yeah.
so that he can communicate with you on an intimate level, and then you process it and then you break it down to them to their level.
Yes.
Yeah, you know
Doesn't
what?
make you better. It
Yeah.
just means that you're in a different place.
Right.
Well, the reason for that is Albert Einstein said you cannot solve level 1 problems with level 1 thinking. And what he meant by that was we have different levels within us. We have some people call it energy centers within us, and each one is at a different level. But most people live in the lower 3, which is below the heart. There's the area, the sexuality, then there's appetites, and then there's the area of accomplishment. And those 3 areas are the 3 areas most people live in. One is work, one is eating and sleeping, and the other one is pleasure. But we don't go above that with the area of heart, the area of what we speak, the area of what we think, and the area of what we know. And what God did with you, because you were isolated, he was able to shape you where your consciousness is in the higher realm. You're on another dimension from the people who are in the lower 3 levels, so you can reach to them because you can see. They can't. If you're in the basement, if you're on the 3rd floor and you need to be on the 6th floor, you can't see what's going on the 6th floor.
Exactly.
Right.
You can't. So you need someone to guide you to the 6th floor, and then when you get there, it's uncomfortable
Oh, it is.
because
Very-
that old you is going to say, "But I don't want to do this. I want to go back
you're
to."
coming outside of your own box.
I
your
want to
own
go back.
comfort
I
zone.
want a boyfriend. I want a girlfriend. I want to go party. I need to make more money. I need to accomplish, which is why our society is so stressed. Everybody's in that area of accomplishment and competition, which is a breeding ground for cancer.
And
sickness.
jealousy, and that's what.
And
That's where
jealousy.
the jealousy.
Yeah.
Tell us about the jealousy, because that's huge.
Oh man, it's like I finished the book, but I still have some more to say about it. So I think I'm going to write like a workshop.
Okay.
I started learning the effects of jealousy on the body.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
You know,
It's
the
cancer.
stress pockets.
yeah.
The
Yes.
toxic,
Yeah.
the lumps and tumors. The other thing I learned, when the doctor can't really give you a diagnosis, you're dealing with a spiritual issue. You know what I'm saying? And even the physical body, and I'm not a medical doctor, I've just done a little bit of research. Even the physical body can be on toxic overload.
Right.
Yes.
So, and if you don't do something to rid, then you get these other problems. It's the same thing spiritually. I always say, if you hold on to something, just like, okay, you'll eat today, you'll rid yourself of the waste, right?
Sure.
Think about somebody holding something for 20, 30 years and it's in here.
Wow.
It's inside of you.
Yeah.
It has not moved. It has
Oh my
not gone
gosh.
anywhere. The level of brokenness,
Oh my gosh.
the depression, the anger,
Yeah.
the bitterness, it has not left. So now it starts to manifest. And there's phases to the manifestation of the unforgiveness, the bitterness, the hate, the jealousy. There's stages to it. So when some of us are walking around 300 pounds and about 120 pounds of it is spiritual.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I started to study the effects of jealousy on the physical body. Headaches.
Wow.
That's
You know what I'm
powerful.
saying?
That is powerful.
You headaches, chemical imbalances, you know, diabetes. I'm not saying jealousy is the cause of diabetes. I'm saying it can be a contributing
It
factor.
can.
High
It
blood
can.
pressure,
Yes.
heart disease,
Yes.
all these different things. When we fail to embrace peace, what does peace mean? Peace for you may mean a different type of peace for me.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
And that's okay.
And it's okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
You just have to find out what
You don't have
peace
to be like
means
me.
for you.
Exactly.
I found peace means I have grown to love my space, my environment, myself. And I no longer give myself an excuse. I give myself permission to be loved by me. So when you
powerful.
come into my environment, the standard is there.
Yes.
So either
you
you're
don't waver from it.
No.
there's no wavering.
No.
Yeah.
So either you're going to love me or there's going to be a breach in our connection and it's going to fall off anyway. So jealousy, when I learned the different energies on it, it has gotten to a place now I can walk in a room and feel it. It has gotten to a place where I sense it. You know what I mean? And not from a place of judgment,
No, you
but just from a
you need
place
to know.
of, wow, okay, somebody needs healing in here.
You become aware.
Yes, the
there's
consciousness.
A sensitivity.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're conscious of it. And that is key for anyone to effect change in their life. You have to be able to step back and observe. And you start
Without,
about,
like she said, without judgment.
yeah, you observed yourself and you didn't judge yourself. You didn't go into the condemnation thing. You didn't go into the self-destruct thing, which is going to stir up and your limbic brain is going to generate these stress chemicals, stress hormones into your body. And then you're going to start going through a thing, you know, which will affect you. And then you're going to want to back away from it. But if you just say, hey, you know what? This is where I am. I need help. You made me. You made me. You formed me. You saw me when I was conceived. You know what you put in me. You know was jacked up because of the environment, because our environment is what causes all of this, the things by which we're surrounded, you know? And so they used to have a saying that you have to, if you don't believe or embrace that which is above you, you will fall victim to that which surrounds you.
That's good.
And our environment is so filled with all those things you said: jealousy, envy, hatred, competition, the pushing and pulling and the fighting and insecurities. All of that is not what God planned for his creation.
But a lot of us have that so ingrained. It's even generational.
Oh, yeah.
You know, because I know
Yes.
in the environment I grew up with, you have to go get that money. So that's the form of competition.
Yeah.
You have to go get that money. Jealousy, which I've never really understood. So when I feel it, I still don't know what to do with it. Because a lot of times, like you said, you have to ask for help. But some people don't know to ask for help. They've been so ingrained in that, like, you know, she thinks she all that. Look at her. Okay, so why don't you look at yourself? And it's okay for her to think she's all that, because she should. And I think you should think the same about yourself. But we're so programmed as a society to judge another person when we're not perfect.
No.
So how does a person who's listening, who may, nothing's going right, people are always against me. How do they start from the very beginning with that healing, that self-healing for themselves?
Heal the Culture, one of my first conference calls I did, nobody wanted to talk. Like the line was silent.
Yeah.
It was awkward.
Yeah.
Every black child ever born or every African American child, you heard your grandmother, your aunt, or your mother say, "Don't you take this business out of our house."
Yes.
Our business at home.
House. Yes.
Oh my God.
Let me tell you
Yeah.
what that taught us. That taught us to not value our voice. It taught you how not to communicate. It taught you not to talk. Okay? When I spoke to that, I said, "So ladies, so we're just going to sit on the phone," and obviously everybody called in because
They want to hear somebody else.
we got
What
some
she gonna
struggles.
say? Yeah.
And some of y'all probably called in to spectate as a spectator sport. And so if you're spectating, you're participating in the brokenness.
And the problem.
Right.
Yeah.
So if you're not here for a solution, then why are we can't just sit and hold the phone. And everyone on here has been told, don't you take this business out of this house. That's when the ice broke.
Yeah.
And the first lady started talking, and she started talking
You
about
just needed that one person.
that
to
one
start.
person.
Yeah.
She started talking about her childhood abuse and all of the things that happened to her as a little girl. Now, here's the other thing. So if you are trained subconsciously to not talk, and you got all this stuff going on in your house as a child, and your mother, your father, your granny, whoever told you, keep your mouth closed.
Yeah. Yeah.
Why do you think we still have victims? People saying, well, why she wait 20 years to say? Or why she
Yeah.
wait 30 years? Because we are trained, especially as women,
Yes.
especially as African American women.
Yeah.
We don't trust each other.
Yes.
We are trained to be quiet. We are slow to trust, but we're quick to accuse and
Yes.
we're quick to gossip.
Yeah.
Yes.
So that's why I said, let me start speaking to this from a loving place,
That's
because
huge.
it's
That's so
easy
huge.
for us to accuse. Well, girl, what you say? We get the negro, because I get it all the time in the email.
Yeah.
Sharon, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Here we go.
Mad, and I'm like, okay, I get it, because the reason why you're offended is because what I'm saying to you, your spirit is resonating.
Yeah.
So I'm speaking
hitting a button.
truth.
Yeah.
And you're not. And then some women are like, sis, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No one talks like that
No, and it takes
No one.
courage.
from a place of love.
It takes
which
a
is
lot
important.
of courage, and it takes love because, well, first of all, it takes courage to speak to someone in love.
But you
It's-
have to love yourself first before you
Oh
can
yeah,
find that
you gotta
courage.
you have to have that assurance. You have
Yeah.
to have that boldness.
Yeah.
But
If
it's,
you don't love
it's-
yourself, you can't do
It's
that.
speaking the truth in love, and that's the only way you can reach a person.
Mm-hmm.
If
With love and kindness have I drawn.
With love and
Yeah.
kindness have I drawn thee. And what's really interesting, I'm glad you said that, because a lot of people don't know that our makeup is electromagnetic. Our minds generate electrical current.
Yep.
Sharon and I were talking, the other Sharon, your sassy sister.
Sharon Ellis, yeah.
Sharon Ellis was talking about this, how the
We got
brain...
some pretty cool Sharons. I
Yeah,
have
we
to
do.
admit.
Yeah, that the brain generates electrical current and the heart generates magnetic current. So when I realized that, when I saw that from the research I was reading, the heart draws. It's by nature magnetic, and so when you invoke that, when you put a charge to that, people will be drawn when it's real love, when it's genuine. When it's genuine, people are going to open up. They're going to start to explain and share, and then the healing can begin.
Yeah, because like you said, one person started talking and the dam broke.
When I tell you it broke, tears.
Yeah.
Like all you can hear,
Healing tears.
like all
Yeah.
you
You
can
needed to
hear
get
on
it
an
out.
audio, on a conference call,
Yeah.
tears broke. But see, here's the other thing too. You're right about that magnetic piece, and I'm gonna tell you how I learned it. I went to a biochemistry lab,
Okay.
and I started getting these
Well, hold a minute. Hold your
Okay.
thought.
Hold
Okay.
that
Hold
thought.
that.
We got a
We went to the
commercial sneaking in.
biochemistry lab. We've got we're at the bottom of the hour, and we have a commercial spot coming up. But we have an amazing guest with an awesome conversation going.
Yeah.
With soon to be
Hopefully
Dr.
to start conversations at your home.
Yes.
Yeah.
Soon to be Dr.
Doctor.
Sharon Sykes. We're going to be right back after this commercial message, and we're going to pick up right where we left off here at JW Fusion here in Chicago land. We'll be right back.
We'll be right back.
Stay tuned.
Yes. Aren't they awesome, you guys?
This book is the story of Jameson Harold Donovan, who lives in the city of Sussex Falls. Feeling trapped in his dysfunctional marriage to his wife and a stranger to his own children, thoughts of suicide dominate his waking hours. Jameson discovers he was selected before birth by the Almighty to receive quasi-angelic abilities. Between the ticks of the clock. You're listening to JW Fusion with your hosts, James and Wendy B.
And we're back with JW Fusion.
And Sharon Sykes.
And Sharon Sykes.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. We didn't say that right, babe.
I'm sorry, Doctor.
Soon to be Dr.
Yes.
Sharon Sykes. We're speaking that thing.
Yeah.
We're calling that
Why
thing
not?
that soon to be will
Yes.
be. Hey,
Will
right.
be.
Hey,
We're going
right.
to speak that.
So listen, you went to the biochemical lab.
Okay, I went to this biochemistry lab, and this is what I learned. What you're saying about the electrolytes and electricity, let me tell you what she taught me in the lab. She said, everybody who's low on energy, they have low electrical current in the body. That we are creatures who carry energy.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
So she says, if you want your energy to increase, I can let you sit in this room for 15 minutes. And there's like this, not really a super big machine, but it's a big electric machine that puts energy in your body.
Wow.
Okay? She pulled a fluorescent bulb, unplugged. She put it in front of this machine, and it lit the bulb. Okay? So when I started getting these foot baths, and it's a foot bath that pulls all of the metals out of your body, right? All of the impurities, like if you take vitamins, if you take any type of meds, it pulls it out. It cleans the liver off, cleans your kidney, cleans your bladder, cleans everything off. You start off with clear water, you end
black,
up, it's
right?
black,
Yeah.
brown,
Yeah.
orange, or whatever.
Sure.
So I do that maybe like twice a month. And then she says, sit in this room for 15 minutes, and you just sit there. And the machine is charging your body. Like you're getting a shot of electronic B12.
Yeah.
You're getting a shot. And then you leave there. I felt like I was floating.
Wow.
Yeah.
Like seriously.
Yeah.
I had so when we speak about energy, we are definitely energy creatures.
We are energy.
So
Yes.
the other thing that I learned about being in a low place, being at a low frequency, you're heavy.
Yes.
You have a heavy weight
You feel
on
that
you.
weight.
Yes.
Yes.
So the weight is, some of it could be if you don't have a healthy diet, which a lot of us don't. You are putting on weight, not just pounds, but you're weighing your body down. You are encouraging a low frequency. I notice people who eat clean, their
different.
frequency
It's totally
is
different.
higher.
It is. It is.
So it's so many components to the lifestyle
Yeah.
that we don't tap in, and we are eager to feed our flesh. We are eager to feed our ego,
Yeah.
which is another part.
Yes,
That's
those
big.
the low.
That's a really big one.
The 3 lower energy centers: sexual, appetites, accomplishment, doing things. Those 3 areas is where most people live, and it's interesting that you said that you sat in that room and got charged, because we can do the same thing through meditation. when we meditate and we tap into that place in the spirit realm where we move beyond our environment, we move beyond the physicality, and we become pure consciousness. We lose our bodies, we lose our time, we lose the work. You're not worried about the bills, you're not worried about the car note, you're not worried about the kids. You're focusing and locking in spiritually to the Creator, who's pure energy. He's pure energy. We're energy. We're really a bunch of protons, neutrons, and electrons that have a shape and a form.
Right.
You know.
But in addition to feeding and building our energy source, we have to know the environments that we go in that can drain the energy,
and be aware of that.
You know that one person.
Yeah.
Everybody got that one person that they call, and before you can even answer, you're like, "Oh,
you know what?
Lord.
We want you to talk about that because I know you run into that, and I know
once you feel the jealousy, that's like, oh, here you have to do more.
Yeah, so
to gird yourself up.
You could share, briefly, how a person can either break away or overcome. It's better to break away.
I think it depends. I developed a very good skill of detachment.
Okay.
And during my healing process, I detached out of fear of getting hurt. So I would detach. But I was so cold-blooded with it, you didn't even know I detached. You know what I'm saying? Like, you didn't even know.
You're having a regular conversation, interacting, not knowing that I'm not even there
But
with you.
I am not even, like, you're here, but you're not here.
Yeah.
And when I'm not in your presence, you don't matter. And I found out that God loves his people. And if I'm going to be a representative,
say that,
then that is not his will and it's not his heart. So if it's not his heart, then I'm going to be effective in representing him. He will not be able to come down. I will no longer be a spiritual portal for him to come down and work through me and get to you. So I had to leave that open. So detaching was causing it to close. And I was professional and I was strategic, and you wouldn't know it unless you had insight.
Okay.
So God really came into my intimate space. And this is how I look at things. For God to talk to you, God has choices. He has galaxies. He has planets that are still being developed. So for him to engage you, that is powerful.
That is phenomenal.
So,
huge,
and it brought me to such a humble place. And I said, wow, okay, I get what you're saying. I can no longer detach from a place of closing off.
Okay.
So now, I detach in a healthy way, but I leave it open so that if God wants to choose my existence to work through me to bless you or to give you life, I'm available for that. You know what I'm saying? So it helped me to get over my brokenness, and it helped me to get over my offense. And someone on the panel spoke about offenses. How being offended blocks you from receiving, because it is the same deception. I'm not going to deal with nobody. I ain't got time to deal with a girl who over there, because whoever over there ain't well, it's like if
a whole lot of people just nod like,
you know what I'm saying? Well, girl, I ain't coming. Y'all catch me on the next one. But see, here's the thing. I've come to this place, as uncomfortable as it is, because you're already walking into resistance. I've come to this place of growth and peace and knowing that God is with me
all the time,
and
everywhere you go.
It's okay if you resistant, because your resistance is nothing but pain. So I no longer take it personally. You know what I'm saying?
That's big.
That's growth.
I no longer, because you're not mad at me. You don't even know me. So I can't take it. But at the same time, God is he's such a reality to me. His voice, his presence, how he feels. You know what I'm saying? Like, that matters. So if God really matters to me on the level that I say he matters, how can I hate you? How can I resent you?
Right.
That's big.
When I may be the only form of light that you will experience coming from the universe, because everything else has shut it out. Okay? Mental illness to me, and this is just my assessment, doesn't have to be everybody else's assessment. Mental illness to me are so many different foreign spirits, foreign energies that have set up house, and it has altered the existence of one. Which brings me to this point. I get concerned with our community activism and our churches and our other political groups. Why don't we deal with it? Because our leaders are battling it privately.
Oh, yeah.
But they got to come out like they got it all together. Or your teacher or your professor or your best friend could be battling, but we are trained to perform, which brings me to this last point. I don't perform anymore.
Okay.
I stopped performing.
You know what it is?
That's big.
It goes all the way back to what you said at the beginning. We don't talk about what goes on in the house. It's
Yeah.
the same thing.
And that bleeds into other aspects of our lives.
I mean, you're dying.
Yeah.
You're dying up in there, but you're not going to say anything. You're not willing to open up, and you won't even admit it to yourself. You know, at least admit it to yourself that you have issues that you're dealing with.
But then some people don't know how to admit it to themselves because they're surrounded by all the same kind of people. So that makes it normal.
Okay.
We're
We
trained
all
to
miserable.
perform. We're trained to perform.
We're all
Yeah.
sick, but we're all together, so you don't see that there's a problem with that.
And we train each other to do it.
Yes.
We train each other to
from
Wow,
perform.
childhood.
that's wow.
Yeah.
I mean, for me, I was sexually abused as a child. And like you said, I didn't say nothing to no one, not one person, until I was 18.
Look at that. So you held that
I
for
held
18
that.
years.
Yeah. Still going around the people
Kicking
who
it.
caused it with the performing. Like, let me act normal, you know. Now I'm freaking out inside, but I got to present this strong front because I'm not supposed to talk about this. And that's the
Man.
problem still today. That's why
It
it's
is.
still
It
happening. You know, they're making this Me Too movement like it's something brand new. It's not.
It's not. It's
It's just
always,
that a couple people are starting to talk about it, but it's still something that's kept a secret.
It was institutionalized. I mean, because you're hearing it. We kind of sad to say people expect it from the entertainment industry,
Yeah.
but you do
But it's-
not expect it in the religious world.
Yeah, but it's everywhere.
But it's there, and
Yeah.
which means, I don't care what title you got, you're human, and if you're human, if you're not connected to the source of life, if you're not connected to the source of life, then that means you're spiritually dead. If you're spiritually dead, your energy is so low, you're functioning with your own energy, not the energy that is in the universe that God
Which is so
created
much
for
more
us.
powerful.
Because there's a matrix of energy that holds everything together. It's fitly framed together. That's what the Word of God says. And we understand through faith that by the Word of God was the worlds framed. The ages were framed. The cosmoses were framed or shaped or put together by His Word. So that's a spiritual thing. And so there's energy. They found out that between planets and stars, like you were saying, there's still celestial bodies being formed.
Yeah, formed.
Well, scientists have discovered that what they thought was empty space between, say, Mars and Earth is an empty space. It's energy.
yeah.
And that energy is the omnipotent creator. So He is in everything. He feels everything. But when you're separated from Him, you're dead. And it's not to mean that you're physically no longer living, but you're disconnected. And that's the problem, when you're disconnected. And what I'm hearing from Sharon is that God is using her as a conduit to connect the energy source to those who need an infusion.
She's allowing herself to be used because we all have free will. she's opened herself up to be that way, because we can all be conduits to what God has for us specifically.
Yeah.
And the job and the service that we were created to be. But you have to be open, because he's not just going to, take over.
No.
You have to open yourself, and that's a lot of times hard because people aren't taught that.
Yeah. Listen, hold up Sharon's book.
I was about to say, I don't want to miss talking about this, because this
hold
is
it up so
this subject right here.
Hold up so you can see it on
The
camera.
emasculation, the enemy of
To the soul
of a woman. Talk about. I don't want to end without talking about this.
Okay, emasculation, the new cover, y'all, makeover. Emasculation, the enemy to the soul of a woman, is several different layers that is so many parts to it. So I'm going to start with the little girl and her father.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So if daddy wasn't there, there's a vacancy on the covering. It shows up in her life. It does not leave until she does her work. So because men are gifted to cover.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
We are gifted to nurture.
Nurture, right.
And when and let me just quickly say, because I get the emails all the time, we can hunt. We are good hunters. But see, here's the trick. Here's the deception. If he's hunting and if he's out slaying a bear, and if you're hunting and you're out slaying a deer, who's back at the house nurturing? So if the kids are raising themselves, they have nothing to model. They don't have anything they don't have a reflection of themselves. So now you're out of pocket, you're out of your posture, and with you not being there to nurture, because love conquers all. Love shows up through nurturing. Okay, he can't even really hunt without your nurturing ability.
Okay, so wait a minute, because a whole lot of people like, she don't understand. I got to work. Whatever. I got to get out there and do what I got to do.
I'm on my way to St. Louis to talk to a group of professional women right now to have this subject. Now, it doesn't mean that you don't work.
Right.
It means that you know what your power is. Every woman has a virtue, right?
Yes.
Every woman is virtuous, right?
Yes.
A woman's virtue is her power. When she taps into her virtue, the paradigm shift happens. He is energized.
Right.
When he thrives, when you have faith in him.
Yes.
When you believe in him, and then the children thrive. You're teaching your son how to love his wife.
Yes.
You're teaching your daughter how to manage her home.
Yes.
We have become deceived by westernized culture.
And allow the man to be the man.
Every third world culture teaches their daughters how to nurture family, and they teach their sons how to hunt. Real quick story. A little boy from one of the India, somewhere, one of those countries, I watched him dig a well and build a pool. He made a fishing apparatus to catch. Somebody taught him that.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, sure.
So when we operate in our capacity, that's when the balance happens.
Yes.
I work in elementary education. The balance is off. Now, it doesn't mean you quit your job. It just means that you understand what your capacity is. Being submissive does not make us weak.
Ooh, say it
Being
again, say it again,
submissive,
say it again.
your strength is multiplied when you are a submissive
There
woman.
is power in that.
And what does that mean? That means being a submissive woman means I'm not going to tell you off because you're broken. I'm going to pray for you, or I'm going to administer a kind gesture.
Yes, help build you up.
I had the opportunity to make a choice just the other day. And I said, you know what? No judgment, sis. You know what? I love you. I want everything to work out. Choices. So emasculation, the enemy to the soul of a woman. We start with the little girl. Where was daddy? One of the chapters in here is where's my daddy? Okay. And then we go into her young adult life.
Okay.
The anger, the unspoken anger, because mom is broken. It transcends to generation.
Yeah.
You fly, you beautiful, but you angry.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
And all of that is a facade.
Right. Emasculation, the enemy to the soul of a woman. Emasculation. When a man is emasculated, it compromises his manhood.
Yeah.
If his manhood is compromised, his life his children is going to be compromised. They're going to pass it on.
Yes.
And then she's not going to learn how to build. Proverbs 14:1, a wise woman buildeth her house, but a foolish woman plucketh it down.
Yeah.
Okay.
Who's the foolish woman? The foolish woman is the woman who does not know how to build. The woman who can't build is a woman who does not nurture. You see what I'm saying?
That's interesting. That's powerful.
That is.
Because the piece you mentioned about anger, about the person being angry, that really is that's their solution. That's where they hide. I won't say hide. I say that's where they abide as that's their self-medication. That's their self-medicating process, is the anger. And so when you have anger like that, the Bible says be angry and sin not, because anger is followed behind an action often.
Oh,
It could be a physical action. It could be a verbal action. It could be manipulation. Any number of things come from anger. But it was interesting that she said that you have this, you have that, but you're angry.
Right.
But you don't want to change. Because
You don't know to change.
Because, well, even if you know to change, giving up the anger is giving up control. Would that would beg the question.
That's accurate.
If you're giving up the anger, you're giving up your control. So
for me, like you said, Sharon, the boys, I would say that starts young too. And a lot of households are female ran. So speak to the single mom.
I write about it.
See, y'all look at this. Y'all get
Okay,
the book. Y'all
so-
see
Get
that?
the book, get
Just
the
get
book,
the
get the
book.
book.
But speak to that person who's listening like she don't understand. I have to work. I'm the only one here.
Yes, we have to work. But here's the thing. When you go out and buy your 9-year-old son 10, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, $300 pair of sneakers, tennis shoes, whatever, and he does not know the value of $1, you are emasculating him.
oh, wow.
Say that again, please.
When
That is powerful.
when
Oh, my gosh.
when we go out and shop out of guilt, because you feel bad because I didn't spend time with little Jimmy, I
Yeah.
didn't spend time with little Johnny, so hey, what do you want? What do you
Yeah.
want, buddy?
Yeah.
And he says, well, Mom, they got the new Air Jordans out, and I use the Jordans because the kids love Jordans.
Yeah.
And well, where are they? Well, we got to ride up to Wisconsin to that mall to get them, and they have a limited supply. Well, how much are they, honey? They're like $350. Okay, let's go.
Right, when
Because you
still
want to
have
see
the
him
light
jump
bill,
up
the
and
gas
down.
bill. Yeah.
But what you're teaching him is this. He's going to grow up and he's going to want his woman, his wife, his fiance. He's going to expect the same performance.
Oh, my gosh.
So now
That's
the woman
powerful.
becomes slave driven in materialistic desire
Yeah.
to please her man, because he has this appetite from a little boy of being materialistic. So he measures materialistic behavior by your love, because he was never nurtured.
Right.
He was never nurtured.
So-
he was never
Or he doesn't know how to show love himself. Like, I just bought you all this
performance
stuff.
based.
I'm buying you all this stuff. What's the problem?
things become his love language, basically.
Yes.
Things material. He measures
What
his
child is going to
love.
say, no, I don't want the Jordans, or no, I don't want the G.I. Joe with the Kung Fu grip?
Yeah.
The
Children
kid
are going to want that.
the kid whose mother has taught him the value of $1. The kid whose mother says, I'll go and pay $60 for a lawnmower. You go out there and get you some clients
Yes. Empower
And
him
make
to
you
do that.
$350.
and start a
Yeah,
business.
That's what you want.
There you
and
go.
Let me show you.
Go shovel some snow. Go to Walmart and buy him a shovel
You know,
and let him
That
shovel
is-
snow.
That's good. He should know how to do that.
that is what my mother did to me. I had a job. I grew up in the 60s, 70s, we used to go to 63rd and Halsted to a place called RB's, Smoky Joe's on 63rd and Halsted.
Uh-oh.
All right. Well, down there, they had these silk and mohair pants
There you go with the
and a
silk
mohair sweater.
pants, Lord.
Oh, my gosh.
And you
1969.
had to have
Picture
it,
that.
right?
Yeah.
Oh, my bell bottoms were at that.
Jesus.
All right.
Makes
So
it better, huh?
my mother said, I'm not paying that kind of money. So I had to go get me a job. I got a job, me and Billy Hawkeye, We got a job
Love Billy Hawkeye.
cleaning up around the building.
Hawkeye. Is that a real name or his?
That was his nickname.
That's the hood name.
Yeah.
because
I love
we
it.
got
Hawkeye.
all the hood names.
I was
all love
Hurl.
him,
I was
girl.
Hurl. Herl. I was Hurl because my brother couldn't say my middle name, so he called me Hurl. So everybody on the whole block called me
you
Hurl.
Not
I was
Harold.
Hurl. And Billy Hawkeye.
Hurl,
So
girl.
myself, Billy Hawkeye, we cleaned up around our building, and we made $35 a month
See,
together. So we made $17.50 each. I bought silk and mohair pants, a mohair sweater. I bought a guitar.
Shop, girl. He was
I
shop.
was shy.
You was
I
killing
shy.
with that mohair.
Oh my! I couldn't wait to go to church. I wasn't bit on knowing what I was there for, but I was sharp. You know what I mean? But I understood what it meant to work for something.
yes,
You know, because my mother said, "I'm not giving you that."
But the thing that you said, you and Billy Hawkeye, so his mom was teaching him the same thing. Okay.
Well, he saw me finna make some
Okay.
money, and he had
and he wasn't gonna get left behind.
he
Right.
was gonna get left behind.
But that's how it should go. We're so okay. He doing it. Let me
The
do it.
village.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly. Like you were saying, it can be positive because we could have very easily said, "Well, you know, man, we gonna sling that bow." You know, we're
Yes.
gonna start slinging that bow.
Yeah.
because everybody
Baby,
around.
tell the people what that is. Everybody don't know
Oh,
what that
okay.
is.
Bow is Colombian marijuana.
Yes.
We used to call it. I got that bow.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
You know, we could have done.
And that may be part
but
of
see,
the problem why you have the young kids in the street doing
Well,
things.
now, yeah, it's so
because
prevalent.
they're trying to
but-
get the stuff.
Yeah, but when I was coming
Yeah.
up, I mean, I was in 8th grade at this time, and I didn't go that way. Thank the Lord, I didn't go that way. I did later,
Mm-hmm.
but at that time, at that age,
But your foundation was laid,
my foundation
and you
was work.
Yes.
return
Yes,
to it.
Yes, work for what you want. Don't steal it. Don't take it.
Yeah.
Don't manipulate somebody else out of theirs.
Right.
Go get your own. You know, that's what I learned from that. And that's
Yeah.
not, my mother didn't beat me over the head with it. Going out there doing it taught me the lesson.
See,
Experience.
That's what it's supposed to do.
Experience was the lesson.
she
Yeah.
didn't beat you over the head, but what she did was she nurtured you into the awareness
Yes,
of
yes.
what you needed to do.
Yes.
Now,
Yes.
if she was never around and you never saw her, you probably would have gotten it, but it would have been compromised. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And you probably wouldn't be sitting here trying to reach souls today.
No.
You would probably be in a very different place.
I would be
But
in
it
a
was
very
that
different place,
nurturing
yeah.
piece, that unspoken nurturing piece that
Yeah.
held you accountable. Because it was the same way with me. You know, after cheerleading practice, you need to go sling some burgers at Wendy's. You need to go to the grocery store. You need to do something, work a job. And I've been working ever since.
There's something about a work ethic that, because what was the first thing after God created man? Some people don't believe in it. I do. He put Adam in. He gave Adam a job. Not job. Put him to work.
Yeah.
Because work and job is different.
Yes.
Work brings out your talent. A job is drudgery, and you
It's
work
just over broke,
It's for someone
is what we
else.
call it.
But when you're working, it's rewarding for you. It brings out your gifting. You know. So he put Adam to work in the garden. Put him to work. God could have very easily had angels doing it. He put him to work. Tend to that garden, take care of that, because it's in us. And I know when I was a kid, I watched my stepfather because my father felt he was too smart to work for anybody. You know, I mean, I had that conversation. He felt he was too smart to work for anybody. But my stepfather was a very hardworking guy. I used to watch him just digging because they had a huge, like an acre or two in Chicago Heights.
Wow.
And I used to watch him dig in the dirt and how his fervor in his physical work. I watched that and I copied it subconsciously. I recorded him. And when I got my first job, I was in college. I got my first job. Man, where did that come from?
We ran out of time.
Oh my gosh.
Sharon, you have to come back.
Oh my gosh. Listen.
We have to have you. There's so much more to speak to.
Yeah.
I'll be glad to come back.
We
Listen.
have to have you back.
We had a great conversation with soon-to-be Dr. Sharon Sykes.
Yeah.
Get her, hold the book up, babe.
Oh, y'all, please go get this
Get
book
this
because this
book.
is powerful.
It's-
This is not a conversation that we're used to having.
Right,
That we
right.
need to have
Yeah.
to help both sexes. This is
Yes,
just not
absolutely.
about the man. It's not
So-
just about the woman. It's
so
about
listen,
both.
Tune in next week. We'll see you then. God
Bye,
bless.
everyone. Be blessed.
Hi, this is Wendy, and welcome to The Wendy Life. This is a brand new show. We are celebrating some unsung champions in our community, the disabled community. I have been a mom of disabled children for 21 years, and I look to bring light to this community. We are going to talk to and celebrate therapists, teachers, doctors in this community. We're going to talk to the special needs community themselves, people who are rocking out this life despite their disability, showing us how to live our best lives no matter what life throws at us.
The Wendy Life. New episodes every second and fourth Friday on the Road to Eternity channel.
Thanks for listening to JW Fusion with your hosts, James and Wendy B.